Hi, I'm Rebekkah with Monit's Vocal Studio. Our video today is called Make Big Mistakes. I'm actually on a walk right now, enjoying the sunshine and this beautiful summer day, and I hope you're having a good day as well. One of the things that I've noticed with several of my students, it's very common, is that students are afraid to make mistakes in the learning process. But I always say, if we don't make mistakes, how do we know what to fix? It's kind of like this. When I go swimming in the lake where it's really cold, and if I don't just get in and plunge or eventually douse myself completely from head to toe, I never get acclimated to the water. And it never really feels great. Like people say, the water feels great. If I just dabble and slowly make my way in and never really douse myself in the water, I'm always freezing cold. It's always really uncomfortable. And the same goes for the learning process. If you don't just take the plunge, and it can be kind of scary because it's vulnerable. But if we are not willing to make big mistakes and take that plunge, we will never grow. There is no such thing as practicing perfectly. You have to practice messy. You got to make lots of mistakes. It's got to be a messy process, because how do we know what to fix? So check out the following students of mine. I have a handful of students who've submitted videos talking about their experiences in making big mistakes. These are students who have made phenomenal progress because they've had the courage to make the mistakes. And then at the end, I have two professionals who are making a living in their craft. One's a professional opera singer, Madison Leonard, and the other is Micah Hanson, who's an actor. So I will have their websites linked in the description box below, but I wanted them to add their experiences as well, because sometimes it's kind of cool to hear from people who've made it and that they too make big mistakes. Enjoy.
Hi, my name is Taylor, and I'm a student of Rebekkah's, and I've been taking lessons from her for about 2 years. And I want to talk about not being afraid to make big mistakes today. I'd say that I've been helped in three main ways by not being afraid to make big mistakes. And the first would be when you decide to just go for it and not care, you automatically sing much more freely and you release tension. And both of those translate into better singing. The second would be often if you just in your mind are like, all right, I don't care, you usually sing much better anyway. But on the off chance that you do make a big mistake, that's going to be very easy for Rebekkah to identify, rather than if you're really holding back and things are just more nuanced, and it's harder to tell if it was like a technical mistake or pronunciation or any number of things. A big mistake is an easy fix for Rebekkah, and your singing improves from there on out. I'd say the third would be, personally, my biggest inhibitor in progress with voice has been feeling self-conscious, or just thinking, oh, I feel like I look weird when I'm doing this. But by just being like, I don't care, and we're going for this, it really just helps with your singing. And so I think kind of getting over yourself and not caring if you do look a little bit funny or something. Typically it feels weirder to you than it looks to anybody else. But those are the three things that I've noticed have helped me the most.
Hello everyone, my name is Alex, and I've been with Miss Rebekkah for about 3 years now. When I first started with her, I was going into my freshman year of high school, and I was fairly nervous because I knew I loved singing and I knew I loved musical theater, but I had never received vocal lessons before, and I was scared that she was going to judge me. Miss Rebekkah is one of the least judgmental people I've ever met, but the hardest part for me was receiving feedback. I am a perfectionist, but I had to fake it until I made it. By faking my confidence, I was able to eventually gain real confidence while singing, and I was able to make those mistakes big enough for Miss Rebekkah to see them and to give me criticism on them. And while receiving criticism can be difficult, it also can help you improve so much. By making those mistakes, you're only growing even further in your singing, and by taking that feedback and using it to your advantage, you'll eventually become a better singer, and you'll have confidence in the end. I hope that helps.
Hi, my name is Chelsea. I'm just going to talk a little bit about being afraid to make a mistake yet doing it anyway. So there's two possibilities in the willingness to make a mistake. One, it could actually end up being a mistake and it helps you grow and learn. And you have to be willing to have that mistake pointed out to you and learn from it. The other possibility is that great things can happen from facing your fears, and it may not end up being a mistake. It could end up being something that you didn't know would be an improvement, or it wouldn't be. It could end up being like a new discovery in your voice by taking that plunge and doing what you're afraid to do. So that's another part of opening that door. Like what part of your singing has had a closed door that taking a risk could open up for you. So hope that helps.
Hi, my name is Jade. I've been taking voice lessons with Rebekkah since September of 2016. It's almost 4 years. Along the way, I have realized that there are many components to what makes a great singer. One of them being making big mistakes and taking challenges. So for the past 4 years, I had only really been giving it 50%, sometimes not even that much when I would sing. But then recently I decided to give 100%. And wow, I quickly realized the importance of making big mistakes. The reason why it's so important is because you find out where your boundaries are and you find out your strengths and weaknesses. I like to think of it as like turning on a light in the room. You know, when you turn on the light, you find out how big it is. You find out if it's messy, where everything is. Whereas when you sing and you don't make mistakes or you sing timidly, it's like using a flashlight. It just goes a lot slower. So it is good to make mistakes. It is not an awful thing to sound bad every now and then. Everybody sounds bad. I mean, even the best singers have their off days. And making big mistakes will help you in other areas of life too, with being courageous or confident. So it is always a good thing to make mistakes and make more of them too.
Hi, fellow singers. This is Madison here, talking about mistakes. I feel like I could have gotten a second degree in this particular topic because I've had my fair share of mistakes in performances, messing up words. I was like a professional word messer-upper in school in early years of performing. Learned a lot though. But it's specifically about vocal technique. My advice to you is to be patient with yourself, because just like any other thing that we learn in life, it's gradual, it's slow. There are no shortcuts. So even though, like for instance, I would get super frustrated in my voice lessons, especially as an undergraduate student and even as a graduate student, when something didn't click immediately. I'd say, why can't I do this coloratura fast, at tempo, right now? You know, and I would just beat myself up over it. And there's no reason for that, because just like doing some other movement, like say you wanted to get good at push-ups or something, you'd have to start small. You'd have to do them every day, consistently. Well, not every day, but you know what I'm saying. You'd have to do them consistently and gradually increase what you're capable of. And all of a sudden, 6 months later, you're going to look back and say, oh my gosh, I can do 50 push-ups now. And that's how it's been for me with my vocal technique. It's like, oh, I really wish I could float a high C. And as a young person, I would try and it just wouldn't come. And you know what? Sometimes our voices are just developing and cartilage is literally hardening and maturing. You can't control the growth and the rate of that. So better is to just practice gradual work, being patient with yourself, being forgiving of yourselves. And when you do have a mistake, just go for it and go all the way. You'll probably learn more that way. So that's my advice to you all. Good luck out there. Enjoy this beautiful art form that we get to all participate in.
I am Micah and Hanson, and we are talking about making big mistakes. And quite honestly, I don't feel qualified to talk about this because this is something I personally struggle with on a daily basis, is perfectionism and being absolutely terrified of making mistakes. Like when I say that, I'm not exaggerating. Like I could cry talking about, it brings up so much anxiety in me talking about making mistakes. Like I could legitimately cry about it most any time I talk about it. So when I say like I feel your pain and I get it, I truly get it. I have a physical ailment, like an actual physical condition from the stress that perfectionism has been in my life. I haven't performed live in 5 years, I believe, because I didn't feel my body could handle what a live show demanded of me. So, yeah, and if there's anything that I could encourage people in, it's that nothing stifles creativity quicker than perfectionism. Like, perfectionism is the enemy of creativity. Perfect creativity, perfect anything is boring. And the creative process is anything but boring. And what we do in our art is supposed to be anything but boring. So if you can learn to mess up big and mess up often and be so gracious with yourself through it, you will be so far ahead of so many people, and your art will show it and your life will show it. You'll take bigger risks, and for bigger risks there's bigger reward, you know? And so, man, if there's anything I could go back and teach my younger self, it's to mess up big and to mess up often, like Becca says, because I would be a lot farther along in my own creative process, in who I believe I am as an artist, if I was better at that. So I'm learning this right along with you guys. I get it if you're terrified, because I'm still terrified of messing up. But do it. Feel the discomfort. Feel the fear. Feel the pain, whatever it is, and do it anyways. I know that's a quote somebody says. I cannot think of who it is. Google it. Google up, feel the fear, and do it anyways. Somebody smart said it. It's not mine. But yeah, feel the fear and do it anyways. It's never going to get easier. I don't believe it's ever going to get easier for me to mess up. I'm always going to want to die from embarrassment when it happens. But if I can feel the fear and do it anyways, that's where the magic happens. So you got it. Mess up big and mess up often.